the first god who died. Just imagine that, a world where even the gods aren't safe. Long before today's religions, long before the idea of resurrection even existed, there was one god who created the very path of the afterlife through his own death. His name is Osiris, and his story is darker, bloodier, and more human than you think. In an age when the boundary between gods and humans was thinner than a strand of hair, when Egypt's golden sands glimmered under the burning sun and endless silence ruled the desert, the sky and the earth were locked together in a cold, eternal embrace. From this divine union, 4 legendary forces were born, 4 beings who would shape the fate of the world for thousands of years. Osiris, god of fertility, life in the underworld. Isis, goddess of magic, motherhood and protection. Set, god of chaos, desert and violence. And Nephthys, goddess of night, morning and death. They were the children of Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess. And from the very beginning, their destinies were woven with threads of love, betrayal and resurrection. And among the 4, only one managed to pull the world of humans out of darkness and disorder: Osiris, god of greenery, water, fertility, and cosmic order. As the first divine king of Egypt, he was the lawgiver, teaching people how to plow the land, plant grains, work with metal, worship the gods, and even cultivate grapes to produce wine. According to ancient texts, he introduced viticulture. In the wall paintings of tombs, he is always shown with green skin, the color of life, and renewal, with a crown made of plants and a scepter, symbolizing power and fertility. The reign of Osiris was a golden age. The Nile, the sacred river of Egypt and symbol of life, was always full, the fields were green, and people lived in peace. He embodied Ma'at, the goddess of justice and cosmic order, and under his rule, the world flourished like a blooming garden. But no kingdom, not even a divine one, exists without an enemy. Jealousy flowed through the veins of the world like poison. Set, the jealous, rage-filled brother, carried a fire in his heart that grew larger every time people praised Osiris. People prayed to Osiris, not Set. They sought Osiris for rain, fertility, and life, not Set, the god of dry deserts, sandstorms, and chaos. Set, often depicted with the head of a wild, unknown animal, sometimes dog-like, felt forgotten and humiliated. In some ancient accounts, Set's jealousy began when Nephthys, his own wife, gave her heart to Osiris. This secret love led to the birth of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and guardian of the dead, which filled Set with hatred. That betrayal transformed envy into a blinding grudge. Set decided his brother must die, but not through open battle or sword. He planned a death so clever, so elegant, so perfectly disguised, that no one would suspect a thing. Set, the embodiment of chaos and destruction, knew that killing Osiris would not only grant him power, but would shatter the balance of the world. Yet he didn't care. Set ordered a chest to be made from cedar wood, a rare, sacred, and fragrant timber brought from northern lands like Lebanon. They decorated the chest with gold, gemstones, and heavenly blue lapis lazuli, and crafted it exactly to the size of Osiris's body, based on secret measurements. The chest gleamed like a luxurious treasure, but it carried death inside. On the night of a grand feast, when the music of flutes and harps blended with the thundering drums, pomegranate red wine flowed, and the guests, including Set's 72 accomplices, according to Plutarch, the Greek philosopher, were drunk with joy. Set shouted, "A game! Whoever can fit inside this chest shall own it." The chest, shining like a mythical treasure, tempted everyone. Guests stepped in one by one and came out none fit. Then Osiris stepped forward, the kind, trusting king, unaware of the trap. When he lay inside, the chest closed perfectly, like a pre-designed coffin. In an instant, in a single breath, amid the laughter of the guests, the lid slammed shut. Iron nails were driven in, molten lead was poured over the seams, and the chest was sealed forever. Set roared, "You are no longer the king of Egypt." Then he hurled the chest into the Nile, the river that always gave life. But this time, it swallowed life instead. Osiris suffocated and died, the first god to ever experience death. The world trembled, but Set seized the crown and began his reign of violence. When the news of the death arrived, Isis felt her entire world collapse. But she was the goddess of magic, a powerful woman who would not surrender. With disheveled hair, feet wounded from walking, and eyes filled with tears, she began a journey that became legend. Alongside Nephthys, she searched all across Egypt, through burning deserts, the marshes of the delta, and distant shores. She cast spells on birds and winds to bring her signs. In ancient accounts, Isis and Nephthys often took the form of two kites, mourning birds flying through the sky, their cries echoing like the lament of the wind. At last, she discovered that the chest had drifted to the city of Byblos, an ancient city in Lebanon, and had become trapped inside an acacia tree, a sacred tree symbolizing eternal life. The king of Byblos had cut the tree down and turned it into a pillar for his palace. Isis, glowing with divine light, entered the palace disguised as a servant. She waited for years, earned the trust of the people, and finally revealed the truth. Moved by her story, the king gave her the pillar. When she opened the chest and saw Osiris's cold body, she wept. And it is said her tears became the first rain to fall upon Egypt, a symbol of rebirth. Isis brought the body back to Egypt and hid it in the marshes. But Set, still burning with rage, found it. With animalistic fury, he tore Osiris's body into 14 pieces, or in some versions, 42 pieces, one for each district of Egypt, and scattered them across the land, the Delta, Thebes, the sacred city, Abydos, the center of Osiris worship, Fayum, the fertile region, Wadi Halfa in the south. This act symbolized the spreading of Osiris's fertility into the soil of Egypt, making the land fruitful. But Isis began the search once more. At night, she and Nephthys flew in the form of black birds and found each piece. Wherever a piece was discovered, people built a sacred shrine, and thus the 14 or more tombs of Osiris came into existence across Egypt. Only one piece was never found, Osiris's phallus, which the fish of the Nile had eaten, the origin of the ancient taboo against eating certain fish in Egypt. Isis, with the help of Thoth, the god of wisdom, the moon and magic, and Anubis, gathered the pieces. With their sorcery and knowledge, they reassembled the body and wrapped it with linen bandages, the first mummification in history, a symbol of preserving the body for the afterlife. Isis then transformed into a beautiful bird, settled on Osiris's chest, stirred the air with her wings, and with her powerful magic, breathed life into him, until a breath, brief, fragile but real, returned to the cold body. Osiris opened his eyes, but not for long. He rose, stood, and with the last remnants of life said, "My destiny is not among the living. I shall be the king of the dead." And so he descended into the underworld Duat, the realm of the dead, and became its ruler, the divine judge who weighed the hearts of the dead against the feather of Ma'at. If the heart was heavier, Amit the devourer would consume it. From the brief yet eternal love of Isis and Osiris, a son was born, Horus, the god of the sky, vengeance and the falcon. Isis hid him in the marshes of the Nile Delta to keep him safe from Set, who tried many times to kill Horus, using snake venom or dark spells. Horus grew up with the sound of waves and winds, and when the time came, a war began that, in Egyptian tradition, lasted 80 years, the great battle of Horus and Set, recorded in the ancient text, the contendings of Horus and Set. Horus and Set repeatedly changed form, sometimes into lions, sometimes into hippopotamuses, symbols of Set and chaos, sometimes into falcons or serpents. Set gouged out Horus's eye, the eye of Horus, later a symbol of protection and power restored by Thoth. Horus in turn broke Set's jawbone. The divine court convened many times, With the gods of the Ennead, the group of 9 major deities arguing and debating. Ra, the sun god, acted as mediator. Set tried to defeat Horus with trickery and seduction, but Horus, using Isis's magic and his own intelligence, outwitted him. This incident was interpreted in court as proof of Horus's superiority. Finally, the verdict was given. Horus was in the right. The crown of Egypt was returned to him. Set was exiled to the deserts, or his domain was restricted. Horus then offered his restored eye, the eye of the moon, to his father in the underworld, fully empowering Osiris. From that day on, the eye of Horus became a symbol of health, power, and protection. Osiris never truly dies. In Egyptian mythology, he is the god of resurrection. When Set killed him, Isis gathered his body and Osiris rose once more in the underworld, ascending to an eternal kingship over the dead. But this was not the end. The Egyptians saw each year with the flooding of the Nile that life sprang again from dead soil. The growth of wheat, the greening of the fields, was the rebirth of his body. Every stalk was a sign of Osiris's return. To them, death was not an ending. It was a gateway to continuity. If Osiris had risen, then humanity could too. And this belief became the foundation of mummification, the weighing of the heart, the afterlife and funerary rites. During the festival of Koyak, Egyptians created the Osiris garden, a mold of soil and seeds that sprouted green, a living embodiment of divine resurrection. And in the Greco-Roman period, this eternal god was united with Dionysus, 2 symbols of renewed life in 2 cultures. From the pyramid texts to Plutarch's writings, this myth tells the story of life's victory over death and order's triumph over chaos. If this journey brought you one step closer to the mysteries of Egypt, if you want to enter the darkest, most hidden, and least told ancient legends, hit like and subscribe, because we've only just crossed the sands of the Nile.